What's up, guys? This is the Casual Wrestling Show, where each and every day I pick one of pro wrestling's biggest topics to break down and open the discussion forum to you guys to chime in from the casual wrestling community on YouTube and TikTok Live. If you enjoy the channel, make sure to please support us with a casual wrestling membership on YouTube or join the Casual Wrestling Club for just $5 a month, which starting next week will grant you the ability to watch all shows Monday through Thursday live on YouTube. If you just want to toss a couple dollars our way and don't want to commit to being a member, you can do that through YouTube Super Chats, which we will read and acknowledge at the end of every episode. A little bit of housekeeping before we jump into the mix today. Today's episode is a full Clash at the Castle review, but before we get to that, guys, making content for the CWC is a full-time job at this point, and I want to continue bringing you high-quality videos on a daily basis, like 3 episodes of the Casual Wrestling Show a week, the Mike and D Casual Wrestling Show on Wednesdays, and the Champ and the Chick with Level Up Lauren every Friday, all combined with news shorts, which is going to be a new thing. Instead of adding the news to the actual live show, the news will come in the form of YouTube and TikTok shorts, which will appear after the show on their own feed. So that's kind of the new rigmarole, but here's what it really means. The show is going to officially start going live on July 1st. It's set, it's locked in stone. That's when we're doing it. Until July 1st, some of these episodes are going to be live. Some of them won't. A lot of things are going to be tested out. Like I said, the news topics are going to be shifted over to their own feed in the form of YouTube Shorts and TikTok Shorts. And episodes are going to center around one clear topic, one point of discussion for the episode. We will do a kind of open discussion from my point, and then I will open it up to hear what you guys think and your opinions, and we can kind of have a change my mind feel to each episode. This allows me to make the show feel more personable, less rigid. It's less gotta hit this. It's more just we can talk about anything wrestling we want to talk. So starting July 1st, 1 p.m. Central daily, Monday, that will be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We will be live at 1 p.m. And then on Tuesdays, it will be at 7 p.m. With Milwaukee Mike doing the Casual Wrestling Mike and D show. So I'll have some updates in the next couple of days about the grouped memberships. We're going to be doing some paid membership stuff just to try to help the channel grow and help keep the lights on around here. We're going to have some updates on the Discord, so look out for those. But essentially, what I want this show to become, what it's always wanted to be, is an open discussion, an open forum for discussion, not really a podcast. I don't want to do podcasts. I don't want to do a news show where I'm just reporting and bringing you the news every week because I'm not a journalist. I just want to promote hanging out, a safe place for casual wrestling fans to have open opinions, say crazy shit. We can go back and forth. We can talk about it and just really do a live talk show. That's what I'm looking to do. So let's start the show today by breaking down the new official Casual Wrestling match rating scale. If we're going to be doing these full videos where we just break down events like Clash at the Castle from start to finish, I want to have a system in place so that we can all speak the same language. And I didn't want to do a stars rating system like Dave Meltzer because those are arbitrary and he adds stars and it gets real weird and there is no real basis for what a star means. What I wanted to do was I wanted to make a 10-point scale, 0 through 10, where the numbers have actual verbal representation. So when I say this is a 6, you know what it means. So from here on out, when we're referencing a specific match or a specific event, we're going to use the scale of 10 being a perfect match. It means nothing could possibly be better. It will be almost impossible to achieve this score. A perfect 10 means that there was I couldn't nitpick if I wanted to, okay? A 9 will be classic. It will be remembered forever. This is where what we know as like the WrestleMania match between Cody and Roman and things like that, the Rock and Hogan. These are 9s to me. I don't know that I've ever seen a 10. Number 8 will be amazing. will be talked about at the year's end. When match of the year comes around, an 8 should be on that list. If it got an 8 during the year, it should be talked about at the end of the year. A 7 is going to be great, which means it should receive some future praise. The next couple weeks, we should talk about it. It should have implications moving the stories forward. Number 6 will be good, which is just better than average. It's not average. It's better than average. It was a good match. It happened. We don't have to talk much about it. 5 is average. It is okay. Nothing to complain about. Nothing to compliment. It is a match that happened. 4 will be confusing. Maybe not bad. Maybe I'm not willing to label it bad, but it left me with more questions than answers. So 4 is going to be, on the casual wrestling scale, confusing. 3 is going to be bad. 2 is going to be awful. And then 1, which hopefully we never have to talk about again, is going to be unwatchable. And those are self-explanatory, right? It's just bad, worse, and unwatchable, basically. All right, so let's start off with a few key notes I made about Clash at the Castle I wrote down here. The stage setup, just the atmosphere of Clash at the Castle felt old school. And I don't really love that. We're not in old school wrestling anymore. It kind of had a smoky feel in the arena. The camera felt a little degraded. I didn't love the stage setup. I actually thought it was kind of dog shit. I don't care that we're selling more tickets. I get it. I get we're opening these arenas up and we're getting more people in there. But we've got to work on some of these entryways that just look like they're thrown into a corner. Terrible proportions on the video screen. The super long entryway, I don't necessarily love that when it doesn't make sense. Where was the big video castle that we had last time we were in Clash at the Castle? This was boring to me. This was a bad setup. I did not like the way the arena looked. This is a 3 on the new casual wrestling scale. Starting off right out the bag, we're going to give a bad to the arena setup. I did not love it. Some people liked it. Some people liked the old school feel. But if we're not doing the augmented reality and we don't have a ton of this pyro and stuff like that, I think we can at least, and it's not all about electronics. Could we get just the entrance to look like the entrance to a castle? I don't even need a video board. If we just did something cool with the limited space we had, I would prefer it that way. Now, the crowd, on the other hand, we got to talk about the crowd, because I took a lot of shit when I laid into the French crowd last month or a couple months ago over the Backlash crowd. Let's talk about this crowd. This is what a crowd's supposed to sound like, guys. This is what a overseas crowd is supposed to sound like. The chants made sense. The songs were directed at the right people. They were engaged. They weren't overbearing. Through the course of the night, Scotland they got it right. They just got it right. They cheered at the right time. They pumped up the baby faces. We got some fuck you chants to the heels, which I can appreciate. I like that. Outside of Triple H leaving them absolutely stunned at the end of the night, this was a 9 out of 10 crowd for me. This was a 9 on the casual wrestling scale. This was one of the better, when we talk about, we overhyped France because they sang all night, all that shit all night. We overhyped them and said one of the best crowds ever. I didn't even think they were a top 10 crowd. This crowd in Scotland, definitely way higher up on that list. So let's go in sequential order. Let's talk about the matches. Let's start with AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes, which I'm seeing now the IWC already jump in and talk about, the heavyweight championship or the WWE championship starting the show. They've already lost their confidence in Cody Rhodes. That's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening. Let's be real. Let's be honest. We got to be fair. Drew McIntyre was ending the show. There was no way Drew McIntyre was not ending that show. That's who people were there to see. Drew McIntyre from Scotland. He runs Scotland. That's his baby. That's who's ending the show. So Cody's going first. And I was one of the people, Mike told me that Cody was going first. I had the worries that they were putting Cody last, but I think this was absolutely the right place to put Cody Rhodes. I will say the early pacing of this match I didn't love. I felt like they came in real hot. Cody went straight down for a slap, and we got going extremely quick. I would have liked to settled into my seat a little bit before that got going, but I think overall good crowd work. The crowd was into it. Good backstage stuff. They moved around the building, which I think is always good in an I Quit match. It felt like the crowd understood who the babyface was and who the heel was, and AJ Styles was able to feed off of the correct energy so that he could play the heel in this story. I think it's interesting. We got blood. We don't usually get blood. We got blood. It looks like Triple H is really willing to kind of get rid of some of those old Vince McMahon tropes that we're used to, and we're going to start seeing some old school professional wrestling. It doesn't have to be all the time. People don't need to bleed all the time, but I think this was the appropriate time in an I Quit match with Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles where blood made sense. It made sense. And I think this was the best version of AJ Styles I've seen. I liked his ring gear. I thought that, physically he is in the best shape I've seen him in, probably that I've ever watched AJ Styles in, and I just thought this was the best version of AJ Styles. Like I said, we got a fuck you AJ chant, which was interesting. The handcuff spots, why they can be hokey, I thought they were cool. I thought they were fun. I thought they worked. I thought that I didn't see the key laying there, so I thought a lot of it felt organic enough to me that I kind of stayed on the edge of my seat and I enjoyed it. Never thought Cody was in trouble. Never really thought AJ was going to win, but they did enough to keep me engaged in an opening match that I was like, all right, we're definitely setting the tone here. Couple notes from the match. The chair barrage from Cody Rhodes to AJ Styles, I thought made Cody look absolutely savage. I loved it. I think Cody needs that level of aggression. He cannot just be straight up babyface. He will become boring very quickly. I think the fact that he attacked with the steel stairs after the match and he had that burst of anger during the match, it's going to keep Cody a little more interesting. I do think one note here is I think it's time that we drop the undisputed moniker from the WWE title. There's something about hearing after the match, I just want to hear, and still WWE champion, not undisputed WWE champion. The other one is now differentiated. It's the heavyweight championship. So we can have the WWE championship and the heavyweight championship. As long as that's called the undisputed championship, I think it degrades what the world heavyweight championship is, because it is basically an admission that one title is held in higher regards than the other. Say what you want about Cody Rhodes. I see the IWC talking shit. I see the IWC, trying to lay into Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes evokes emotion from casual wrestling fans. IWC doesn't love him. He's not a guy who gets a real, Roman got a very polarizing view from casual and IWC. It was just a mixed sea of some people liked Roman, some people didn't like Roman. I see with Cody, the casual fans tend to all understand and appreciate what Cody is, and the IWC absolutely despises what he is, and maybe that's because he left AEW. Bloodline attacked after the match. Okay, cool. I guess this is where we're going. This worries me a little bit about Roman Reigns, unless this is just a thing to get us through Money in the Bank. Sure, I'm with it. A lot of combination. Answered my questions on what's next for the Bloodline. I asked last week, I said I needed to know what their purpose was. Well, we now know their purpose is going after Cody Rhodes. And I guess this can set up multiple angles. There can be an angle that sets up for Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. There's an angle that can set up for Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes. So this just kicked the door open for a lot of different things. Got the wheel spinning for SummerSlam, and we'll see what happens there. So the score on Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles to me was a 7. It was great. On the casual wrestling scale, it was a great match. Not going to talk about it at the end of the year. It's not going to be match of the year, but it was a great match. I had fun watching it. I think the handcuff stuff was good. And the question I want to ask after every time I rate a match, the new question I want to ask you guys and ask myself is, because sometimes I think we take matches out of context and we just try to grade them against each other when not every match is built the same. So the thing I want to ask after I grade a match is, did this match accomplish what it set out to do when it started? And I think it did. I think that's why I can give this a 7 with confidence is it added another notch to the belt of Cody Rhodes. So now Cody's got 3 or 4 title shots under his belt. We're starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. He's now got an I Quit match. it's starting to build the title run of Cody Rhodes. We're going to start getting into the meat and the potatoes of this thing pretty soon, and so he needs a storied past to be able to talk about. So sure, this adds another notch to that. For AJ Styles, I think he looked good. I think that for people like me who aren't the biggest AJ Styles fan, I left this thing going, all right, get it. Everything about AJ looked good. I know that Triple H has granted him the opportunity to do some things in like Japan and stuff like that, which I think is super cool, which I do think leads to him showing back up in TNA in a couple months. And so I think it benefits AJ Styles. I think AJ gets to accept a loss. He puts Cody over, and then he gets to go do some really cool things in other places. So I think, 7 on that. It did exactly what it set out to do. So match number 2, triple threat tag match. Women's division. My thoughts. It didn't feel like coming into that match that the crowd was that interested in the hometown team. It just didn't feel like they were behind the Scottish girls. It felt like the crowd was there to see Bianca and Jade Cargill. That just eye test, ear test, that's what I heard. But why would you blame them? Like, in all of professional wrestling, all of WWE especially, Bianca and Jade look and act like a tag team. They are the most over tag team in professional wrestling right now. And the reality is, early in that match, I thought Jade looked more comfortable than she had ever looked. Now, I know we got to talk about the botch. We have to talk about the botch, right? We have to talk about Jade trying to jump and springboard into the ring. Obviously, something was going on with those ropes, and we can talk about it more when we get to Damian Priest, but that's just the reality of the situation. What I want to know is, who is producing these matches? Who is producing these matches and thinking that it is a good idea for Jade Cargill to springboard into the ring? That is not how you book Jade Cargill. I take that AEW bullshit and leave it in AEW, and let's book Jade Cargill like a professional. Why is Bianca Belair doing top rope suplexes? These things aren't needed for these two women to look dominant in a ring. They don't need. Let's put the Young Bucks book of professional wrestling away, and let's get out the book of the Drew McIntyres and the Big Shows and the big giants, and let's book them in that fashion so that every match I don't have to fear that Bianca and Jade might die. Like, let's do it that way. Once again, thought the crowd was good. Crowd had a Shayna scares me chant, which was interesting. Jade Cargill took a lot of bumps. She actually was not very protected in this match, especially after falling off the ropes. I think that the two Scottish girls look sloppy. I didn't love them. The first impressions of them was not favorable on my part. I'm not excited for this title run that we're going into. And like I said, it's just, I don't, this is the one place I'm not going to agree with Triple H. I don't understand the booking of this match. So I'm on the score, I'm going to give this a 4. I'm confused. I left this match confused. So we asked the question, did this match accomplish what it set out to do? If the job here, if Triple H sat down when he was putting together his plan, and his plan was to please the hometown crowd, I don't think you did that. I don't think you nailed that. I don't think that is the team, the hometown team they were looking to win. It feels like he knew he had some disappointing spots later in the show. And so we're just, here's where we will appease the crowd. But I don't think the Scottish crowd is the type of crowd that needs to be appeased. I think that they were fine just seeing what should happen. Did this accomplish what it set out to do? Was your goal to break up your best tag team in your company right now? Then you set out you did what you set out to do, because Bianca and Jade looked like a cohesive unit. And unless the plan is to immediately insert one of these two women into a title picture, which I think is an absolute mistake, then I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know. And I get that it's a fluke and it happened and it got pulled to the side. And maybe we could right the ship and they win the titles back at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or something like that. All good. I can be patient. I can get there. I just don't think this was the right moment for this to happen. So I leave here more confused than I do assured that the women's tag team division is in good hands. Because once again, we're right back into the tag team titles being in the hands of somebody that doesn't draw. These two women are not going to draw. Nothing against them, just this early on, they're not going to draw. I don't even know that right now I keep calling them the two Scottish girls because I don't know their names. I cannot say their names confidently enough right now so that you guys can, won't just come after me when I say them completely wrong. Match number 3, Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. We started with another QR code. I scanned it. It led to some puzzles, and I immediately just shut it off. Not doing puzzles, guys. Triple H, I'm not fucking following the rabbit down the hole anymore. I'm done. You got me again. I got sucked. I was like, you know what? Maybe there's rumors that they're coming on Monday. Let me just go ahead and... No, not doing it. Not doing it. Hopefully they're aired tonight, and I can be done with this QR code shit. Sami and Chad Gable didn't feel like a premium live event to me. It felt like just another Monday Night Raw match. This felt like stalling. This felt like they're afraid to pull the trigger yet. That we may be a little bit too far out from SummerSlam to get to the plans that they want to do. One thing that's happening, Otis may be the most over babyface in the company right now, which is interesting, having not really wrestled or been in the middle of the storyline. He's getting over incredibly from this. So shout out to Sami Zayn and Chad Gable for getting a third party involved and getting them over. I will say that I think this match suffered from the dreaded Triple H 5 matches, a premium live event. I think 6 is the sweet spot. I think this match ran long. I think the pacing felt slow. I didn't love it. It just felt like we all knew what the destination was, and we've just got to kind of sit on the slow train until we get to the meat of the match, which we knew was going to be when Otis got involved, when Maxine got knocked down, when Gable was finally screwed. This match just felt like it suffered from having too much time to me, which is funny to say, but yeah. My score is a 4. Once again, it's confusing. Did this match accomplish what it set out to do? I don't think so. I think that you've got to pull the trigger sooner rather than later, and I feel like sometimes WWE and Triple H have this tendency to overbake. And I understand. Some storylines, like I'll talk about Drew in a little bit, they need that time to breathe. But it feels like we're starting to just hit the same story beats with Chad Gable over and over. And it feels like Chad ramped himself up, and we were all excited for this big heel turn. And we were all excited for Otis to turn, and we're just still getting teased. And maybe it's just too early, but then I don't know that this needed to be a premium live event. That would be my problem. I don't think this match set out to do what it was supposed to do, which was get us excited going forward. I think that you run the risk at this point of doing too much Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. And so I would say this is probably the low point of the premium live event to me. We'll see where it goes moving forward. Match number 4, Bayley versus Piper Niven. I wasn't excited coming into this match. The WWE didn't do enough to get me excited about Piper Niven being a real threat. This is obviously one of those pull the curtain back. Piper Niven's Scottish. We're going to go after the hometown crowd. All right, cool. Do it. That's fine. When you only have 5 matches and you're sacrificing 2 or 3 of them to appease the hometown crowd, you run the risk of alienating casual fans. I will say, Piper's graphics, her whole presentation was good. They did a good job of making her feel like a threat during the match. But Bayley is missing something for me. And I don't know what that is. And somebody maybe needs to kind of do a deeper dive and try and figure it out and help me kind of get into what is the aura of Bayley that I'm missing. She comes off unauthentic to me. Like, to me, Bayley feels like a natural heel. She feels like she is only interesting when she's doing the sarcasm, the talking shit. She works kind of sneaky in those things. And I know that in order for Damage Control to work, she had to step out and become babyface. But I wouldn't mind us getting back to the heel of her saying this isn't working and circling around. And maybe that's where we're headed with Naomi. Maybe I'm ahead of the game here. But unless Bayley goes complete oversaturated babyface, back to old school hugging Bayley, I don't like her as babyface. I like Bayley as a heel. Chelsea Green is absolutely phenomenal. She has a great gimmick. Like, the fact that she doesn't have to be in the match to have an impact, to be tossed out of the match, is absolutely like beautiful booking. You get the crowd hot. The crowd wants to yell and degrade Chelsea Green. She leaves. She's gone. Comes back in a mask. Like, this is the kind of theatrics that you need in a match like this, where I go, I'm not interested. You gave me enough little offbeat things happening during the match to keep me going, okay, action, look over here, action, look over here, and it worked for me. So the only complaints I have, felt very vanilla, just very vanilla booking. We knew exactly what was going to happen. Piper Niven landing on Bayley looks scary, so there's a little bit of believability in just the fact that Piper Niven is a little bit of a scary person in the ring from a size standpoint. But it's just vanilla, man. Just vanilla. Vanilla. That's all I can say. And so score on that match is a 5. It's 100%. It is a 5, which is average. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was great. It's a match. It happened. We can talk about it. And we probably will never talk about it again. I do think it made Piper look like a threat if we're talking about what it accomplished. I think Piper moving forward has a little bit more credibility. I do think it entertained the local crowd. I think it had a pretty interesting finish. I didn't hate the finish. I think that they did the best with what they could do is what I'll say. And like I said, I need more from Bayley. I need something. I need Bayley to spark me and give me a reason to pay attention because there are so many interesting women in that division between Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, even Liv Morgan is intriguing. You have Jade, you have Bianca, you just have all of these. If Charlotte will be coming back soon, we have so many names, and so Bayley's gonna have to give me a reason to pay attention and invest into her title run. And so let's finish off. Let's talk about Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. This is what everybody paid to see. This was the main event. I don't care. Cody Rhodes, WWE title. This was the main event. Drew McIntyre's entrance, nice touch. Liked it. Drew McIntyre's a fucking star. Let's get that on the table right now. It has all come together for Drew McIntyre. The look, the ability to talk, the aura, the in-ring work, it's all there. Drew McIntyre's a top guy. Top 3 guy in WWE right now. And this had a big fight feel. Damian Priest is a star as well. WWE, Triple H, phenomenal job on packaging this thing together and giving it a main event feel. This felt like a boxing card to me. We had this event was bookended, right? We had a good opening match. We got some bullshit in the middle, and then we got what we came to see. And that was Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Now, once again, we got to talk about the big moment where Damian Priest slips on the ropes. Was it work? Was it real? I'm on the camp that was real. Drew McIntyre looked too surprised and almost tried to help Damian out of the situation early on for that to feel like a work. I see some people saying he stepped on the second rope. I think he just misjudged it, and when he went, he just stepped on whatever he could step on. And he definitely flung around, and that did not look pretty. The fact that Damian Priest finished that match after having his ankle just mauled inside those ropes is absolutely impressive. And I'm not letting it go. Don't worry, AEW fans. Don't worry, AEW. I'm not letting it go. We need to implement a rule. Guys over 6'3" should not be springboarding over the top of the ropes outside the ring. You can blame The Undertaker for that, for being so good at being able to do it, that all of these big guys think they should do it. Damian Priest shouldn't do it. Top Dollar shouldn't do it. Drew McIntyre shouldn't do it. Let's just stop jumping over the top of the ropes. It is absolutely way too dangerous for guys that are 6'5", 6'6", 240 pounds. There's way too much that can go wrong. So let's just stop doing that, okay? But having said that, absolutely impressive that he finished that match. Let's talk about the finish, because this is what everybody's pissed off about, right? We knew going into this, Drew wasn't winning, right? That was the consensus. I got my hopes up. I know a lot of people got their hopes up. I was texting with Sledge, and we both said, when we heard that there was possibly two title changes, we both put Drew ? Right? Has to be. Drew's winning. It was never happening. This was the right finish. This is what you do going into SummerSlam. I don't care what the crowd thinks. I don't care what the IWC thinks. I know the IWC thought he was walking out as champion. I know the IWC loves this narrative that it's Drew's time and Drew deserves it. And because Drew got us through the pandemic, he should be given a title run. Bullshit. Like, that's not how wrestling works. We do what's best for the story. And this is what's best for the story. This is pro wrestling. This is Attitude Era. This is what everybody's been wanting. The fact that Samantha Irvine had to go out after the event was over and send the crowd home looking like they just witnessed a massacre, that's what you want. That is pro wrestling. Everybody can't always leave happy. And this set up SummerSlam to be absolute fire. I want to go back. Let's go back to about a month ago. I said something on an episode, and the IWC took it and ran with it, and that was, I said that CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre was going to be feud of the year. And they laughed. They said, CM Punk's too old. This isn't going to... Look where we're at. There's nothing bigger right now in pro wrestling than Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. So will the IWC please stand up and accept this smug fuck you? I was right. I was right about that. Punk versus McIntyre, match of the year. It's going to be feud of the year. It's going to be everything. We might get heel CM Punk. We might get baby. I don't know. Like, Drew's moment is coming, guys. Drew's moment is coming. This is what I talk about, letting things bake. Let this bake. The longer this ride is to the top for Drew McIntyre, the absolute sweeter it's going to be when we get there. And I think that moment is going to be WrestleMania next year. I think that Drew McIntyre is going to beat Gunther at WrestleMania next year for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't think Drew is in line for the title right now. I think Gunther's going to win it around Germany now, because I think Damian bought himself some time here. Damian's performance tonight definitely bought himself some time. I don't think Gunther is going to beat Damian at SummerSlam. I think that Judgment Day gets involved and that Damian Priest is going to hold on to the title through Germany, and Gunther will probably win the title in Germany because we're not going to have two premium live events overseas that end in just complete devastation. So Germany will be the one where everybody leaves excited that Gunther's the new World Heavyweight Championship. But this is the time for a double turn, man. This is the time. Turn CM Punk heel. This is the moment. Unleash the CM Punk that we've all wanted. We wanted Tony Khan to do it. We want Triple H to do it. Let CM Punk cook his heel. It's the only way he's going to be believable enough to beat Drew McIntyre. And he should beat Drew McIntyre. This should feel torturous for Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre should not get a fair shake at CM Punk until the blow-off match where he absolutely just is going to destroy CM Punk. But this is good. This is good. If you're going to end a show like this, you end it good. Score on this match is an 8. It's amazing. It's not classic. It's not going to be remembered forever. But at the end of the year, this is, unless Drew and Punk just blow the roof off the arena 3 times in the next 6 months, this match is going to be talked about at the end of the year when we talk about awards. Did it accomplish what it set out to do? You tell me. Drew is now the biggest babyface in the company. Come tonight. Even if he's a heel, he's still going to be one of the most sympathetic characters on TV. CM Punk can now go either way. This is a great time to turn him heel, or he can continue to just be CM Punk and play the middle and play the smug asshole, right? Damian Priest looks like an absolute beast, finishing the match on a bum leg, walking out his World Heavyweight Championship without the help of the Judgment Day. He doesn't have to lean on that story. This set up SummerSlam to be, dare I say it, a rival to WrestleMania this year. Like, SummerSlam is going to be that good this year. Final thoughts on Clash at the Castle. Let's wrap it up and tie it up with a pretty little bow. Like I said, this event was a bookend, right? Strong finish, strong start, strong finish, bookended. The middle was just kind of messy. I think the tag team titles was Triple H's first big miss. Not going to be too critical because I don't know where we go. I do think he missed on Gable. I think we're overcooking this, but like I said, at this point, Triple H has built up enough credit with me that I'm going to relax and watch until it's time to really get critical. I do think that this may be a little bit of a wake-up call for Triple H that he's not invincible, that you can't just do anything you want in the middle of these shows and people don't take notice. There were low spots on this card. There were low spots on this premium live event. There were parts of this event that I go, I don't know if I loved it. Like Jade and Bianca, if they're over, cool, I guess. I don't understand. I hope they're not rushed back into singles action. Like, don't put the Money in the Bank on Jade. Please, Triple H, listen to me right now. Do not put the Money in the Bank on Jade Cargill. She is not ready. You are going to throw her to the wolves, and you will probably ruin what WWE career she could have if you throw her out there too early. Put the tag team titles, put Bianca, let them chase for a little bit, have them win it again at SummerSlam, and let's go back to business as usual, and let's let Jade cook. Let's let Jade get some time in the ring so that we could get over these springboard dives and things like that. Because I'm feeling like right now Jade may be a little rattled from that performance. Overall, let's go overall. I'm not going to average the scores. I don't like that. I don't like when someone just goes, I'll take my 4, my 4, my 4, my 5, my 8, and average them. I'm going to go off my field test. Field test, I think this was a 6, which is a good on the casual wrestling scale. I think this was a good premium live event. It wasn't great. It's not classic. It's not going to be remembered forever. It was good. It had better moments than it had worse. And when you bookend it with your 2 major titles being the features of the show, I'm never going to complain. Like leading into SummerSlam, leading into Money in the Bank, we are in a good position. I think ultimately, to use sports references, which I do all the time, this was a setup shot in golf. This was coming off the fairway. It's not a long drive that's going to be remembered after the weekend. It's not a putt that wins the championship. This is just a setup shot that got us on the green. It got us where we needed to be, and we can now move on to the bigger scheme of things. Like I said, prolonged Gable story. It's not the end of the world. Don't love it, but let's pick that up. And it broke up my favorite tag team. That's a 6 for me. If you agree or disagree, let me know. Starting next week, you will be able to chime in live right here, and we will go back and forth for a discussion about what I just talked about. I will read any super chats that you have. Anybody who's a member of the Casual Wrestling grouped channel will be able to speak up now and say their piece. Let me know your thoughts on Clash at the Castle. But if you haven't already, make sure to join the Casual Wrestling YouTube membership. Make sure to join the Casual Wrestling grouped page, and make sure to join the Casual Wrestling Discord. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to hang out. I am Nerdy D. You guys are the Casual Wrestling community, and we will talk more about pro wrestling tomorrow.